President Trump. And Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency already facing lawsuits. They allege that DOGE doesn't comply with the Federal Advisory Committee Act. It's a law that governs the establishment and operations of advisory committees. Musk has responded, saying in part, quote, "Can someone start a lawsuit counter? How long until we hit triple digits?" Joining me now is Robert Weissman. He is the co-president of Public Citizen. That is a progressive consumer rights watchdog. Public Citizen, one of the parties suing DOGE. Robert, thanks for being with us tonight. Tell me why you're doing this right off the bat.
Well, this DOGE that's called a department is actually an advisory committee. It's going to give advice about fundamental operations of the government, what regulations should be cut, what programs should be cut. It has to comply with the law, which requires that the committee have a fair and balanced membership, that it operate according to a charter, that it have open meetings, that it comply with open records rules, and there's no sign that it's going to do any of that.
So there are Democrats who want to be involved. They are posting on social media. That's as open as it gets, is it not?
No, posting on social media is not participating in the committee process. It's not being at meetings. It's not knowing what their agenda is. We really have no idea what DOGE is doing. We don't know who's working for it. We don't know who's paying for it. We really don't even know where they're working, how they're being deployed to different agencies, and what their agenda is.
I read your statement, Robert, and you say this is, quote, beset both by conflicts of interest and the biased and extremist views of the libertarian billionaire class, end quote. Is your real problem here that these are billionaires? If they weren't billionaires, would you be fine with it? It seems like an attack on billionaires, that you're worried about billionaires.
Well, I'll tell you what, a committee made up of billionaires is not fair and balanced. That's a fact. What we know from what Elon Musk has said and what Donald Trump has said is
what's wrong with that? What's wrong with having some of the most successful people on the planet say, you know what, we're trying to get to the bottom of it.
The law says that the committee has to be fair and balanced, and a committee of 2 billionaires, or now 1, is not fair and balanced. And what we know they're trying to do is advance a very specific ideological agenda that will serve the interests of corporations. They say so. They want to cut the regulatory protections that give us clean air, clean food, safe workplaces, economic justice, and they want to cut government spending. If they were interested in efficiency, there's a lot they could do. For example, they could cut spending on drug prices for consumers and taxpayers. They could eliminate $100 billion a year in waste to privatize Medicare. They could cut the Pentagon budget by $100 or $200 billion a year. They could efficiently raise taxes on the rich corporations who can pay for it.
Okay, so a lot of that are things that Democrats talk about. And I know you say that you're nonpartisan.
Right.
Do you want to see DOGE succeed? We have a $36 trillion deficit. And that is going to climb by the tens of trillions, no matter if there's a Democrat in the White House or a Republican in the White House in the foreseeable future. Do you want to see him succeed?
Well, it depends what succeed means. If the objective is to make the government more efficient, of course I want it to succeed. But cutting regulations that have a net benefit to society is not efficient. Cutting programs to help poor people that pay for themselves is not efficient. Permitting corporate subsidies to continue is not efficient.
Do you think your argument is fair and balanced?
Defense contractors is not efficient. I'm sorry?
Do you think your argument is fair and balanced?
I think my argument is evidence-based, unlike the claims that cutting regulation will help the economy or help the government, or that cutting programs for the most vulnerable is efficient when we're refusing to raise money from the class of billionaires and corporations that have gotten richer in the last decades than they have ever been in the history of the United States.
Let me leave you with this, Robert, and I thank you for the time. Do you plan on going to the Supreme Court? You think this is where it goes?
We're just at the district court right now. We're going to take it one step at a time. But we're happy to talk to you as the case moves forward.
We'll have you back. Robert Weissman is with Public Citizen. Thanks for being with us tonight here on the Hill. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.